the world is changing. It was already changing. We were already going more digital. There were already going to be some elimination of jobs. And this is the unfortunate thing, but it is true. And this just allowed things to accelerate toward the trend that was happening. So pay attention to the trend. Look at where things are going. If you believe we can change the narrative, if you believe we can change our communities, if you believe we can change the outcomes, then we can change the world. I'm Rob Richardson. Welcome to Disruption Now. Shawn Wooden, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Considering the times we're in.
I hear you. Welcome to Disruption Now, where we disrupt common narratives and constructs. And I got to tell you, your profile, your background, and everything you've done certainly does that. You've been in the NFL, which a lot of us have been in the NFL, but what a lot of us haven't done is, take that career, become a financial advisor. I think you're an engineer too.
Computer science. Yeah. That was my degree.
Yeah, I'm actually an electrical engineer, so we have that in common too. All right, so and now you're a financial advisor, and so you're like a Renaissance man. You've done it all. You've done athletes. You've done athletics. You've done academics. Now you're doing financial planning and entrepreneurship. So first of all, I want to say thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Yeah. Well, this is a crazy moment that we're in, the COVID-19 coronavirus moment. And, I hope something we never repeat again, but it's certainly something none of us have encountered in our lifetime. We've been through downturns, obviously. But this is different. This is different than it looks like it's going to be a downturn, and it's been a downturn. About 30 million people are without jobs right now as we speak today. So, but the way it happened, the breadth of what happened, the speed at how it happened is something that I've never witnessed. And my guess is you haven't either. So when you're as a financial advisor now, and you've been through one downturn, but again, as I said, not like this. What advice are you giving people in general? We're not asking for general stocks. We're asking for, how are you talking to people in this moment as we go through this, and people are looking at their 401ks, or they're just concerned about the future?
Really, I'm just telling them, I bring in the football analogies. Make sure you have your game plan. Let's revisit the game plan to see what it is that we want to do. If it depends on each individual. Each individual is different. Each individual situation is different. So if it's the long game that we got to play, we play the long game. If we have to be a little bit more tactical, let's revisit, the risk tolerance, revisit, some of the goals that they want to do short term, medium, and long term, and, develop a plan for that. But at the end of the day, it's very difficult. Like you said, this is something that's unprecedented. We haven't seen this in our lifetime. It seems like we've been able, our generation, especially me and you, probably in the same generation, we're able to say that on a lot of different things, whether it's, in the financial world, the health world, the pandemic, or even in the political world. So it's one of those things that, I tell people we have to be fluid. We just can't stick our heads in the dirt, in the sand, and just
we're not going to make it. We're not going to wish it away.
No, it's not going to go away. I mean, we have to confront it. You have to be right on top of it, and that's what we try to do. That's what we try to do with our clients. Is we try to be proactive versus reactive. Sometimes we do have to take some reactions, but at the end of the day, we try to make sure that our clients are settled for their situation and their goals.
So what are you seeing? What are you hearing as the greatest concern in general from clients or people you're hearing in the industry in this moment?
Just look at it. The last 2 months, March was extremely bad. It was just.
It's been the longest March in the history of the world. I feel like we're still in March, Shawn. Like, it's like this March has never ended. Like, when is March going to end?
No, it's real bad. But then, April, if you look at it, by a couple more minutes, to close of the bell, this will be one of the best months in the market. So it's just the volatility, the extreme volatility, the way that the speed of it. The way that, the pandemic and everything that just happened, we have 30 million people that are unemployed right now.
Yeah.
And in the United States, and that's a large number. I mean,
that's That's a
That's
very large number.
that's
It's yeah.
a large number. That's so.
So how do you explain it? Do you think there's a disconnect, that there's a possible lag in the market? The fact that so many people, I'm just curious, just to get your thoughts, that the market could be doing well in this moment. I don't, by the way, I just personally don't trust this moment in terms of the people thinking, it's doing well right now. Um, but do you think that there's some disconnect, that likely the market will respond when the full effects of this happens, when people really get a grip that 30 million people plus are without jobs?
I do think there's another shoe to fall. There's definitely uh, like you say, almost a disconnect. There's a lot of optimism, which is, hey, I mean, we're an optimistic country. That's what we're built on. We're built on our values and our optimism, and hoping that tomorrow will be better than it is today, and doing the steps to make it better. I think the government's done what they could, and they're still willing to do. The Federal Reserve is what they're willing to do, and what they were willing to show, to be able to boost up the economy and make sure that the country is still be able to operate. Like I said, like we were saying this, we were at a historic low for unemployment. Now we're at an historic high.
Yeah.
We're literally within 30 to 60 days. So
Yep.
it's when you look at that, and you take a step back, that something else is going to. I mean, none of us are. I mean, I'm not in the medical field. You talked about I was in this field. But I definitely wasn't in the medical field. So
Neither was I.
we don't really have a true understanding of, the issues with this.
And neither do they, it seems, at this point,
virus.
from what I can tell.
I mean, it changes every day. That's why I
Right.
said you have to be fluid. You have to be really, and you really have to revisit your goals and make sure that you're set up, your portfolio is set up the right way, for you. But no, I definitely think that there's going to be some other news. I hope it's good. No, we always hope for a miracle. But I do think that the market has not really, the recovery has been very fast, considering.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think
employment and I don't think we've really seen the economic turmoil that's going to become from shutting down the country for 2 months.
yeah, and I think and it's really the after effects. Like, what is, even people, as we start to open back up, and I'm gonna follow the science and the data. Not even my own feelings. I'm a social person, Shawn. I can tell. I'm sure you're a social person. I'd love to be back out there right now, traveling. I would love to be able to do this interview instead of virtually, in person. I mean,
Yes.
I've done a lot of these, and we don't have that opportunity right now. But in this moment right now, you're looking at where we're at. I do think there is uncertainty about not only where we're going, but then how people feel. If people don't feel safe, they don't feel like they want to interact with people because they still fear the unknown, which is
and it's
great.
right.
We don't know what we don't know. It's the unknown, as Donald Rumsfeld said. Not that I want to quote him too much, but it's the point is we don't know that, and so when people are uncertain, I just don't see people come out and say, yeah, let me just go out and let's go drink and party with my friends like we used to. I don't know if we go back to that just like that, or if we go back to that scale ever again. I mean, this possibly, I think when I tell people, as you're looking at your business, as you're looking at your portfolio, and again, I am not a financial expert. I'm just the person that looks at human trends. I was already doing Zoom. I was already doing virtual conferences. By the way, say this. I want to have you.
You're like me. You're a nerd, man. You're like me.
Yeah. I am a nerd. I embrace it. By the way, I embrace being a nerd.
I tell people all the time, embrace that term, please.
I embrace being a nerd. Yes. I do. And you actually made me go to a point that I was going to go to later, but I want to go to now. The point is that, I'll just finish this point really quick. The world is changing. It was already changing. We were already going more digital. There were already going to be some elimination of jobs. And this is the unfortunate thing, but it is true. And this just allowed things to accelerate towards a trend that was happening. So pay attention to the trends. Look at where things are going. Just don't say, put your head down and say, you want to go back to a world where, you read your newspaper every day. No, you're going to read it online. Sorry, that's over. Like you can hope for that world, but that world is, you can hope all you want. It's not coming back. So figure out where people are going and then get prepared for that moment. Speaking of being a nerd, being black and being a nerd has sometimes not been considered to be two things you want to be, right?
It's not cool.
It's not cool, right? And it's something I want to, again, we're about disrupting common narratives, and that's a common narrative I want to take and throw in the Ohio River, the ocean, wherever.
Yeah.
Talk about your experiences with that, because you've been on both sides of it. You've been the jock, which is people are comfortable with us being a jock. Like, that's not – I'm not taking away from what you've done. It's exceptional, the fact that you got as far as you did in that field. But the fact is, that is something that people think in their head. They see a big black man. They say, oh, for me, because I'm 6'5" too. Did you play basketball? I tell them, well, I injured my leg earlier. I stopped playing, but I went to engineering school. And they're like, oh, what a waste. I'm like, and that's not just that's our people too. I'm not just talking about white people. That's our people too.
That's everybody. That's
talk about how you navigate that, right? And how we can change the narrative and the expectations that, we can embrace academics just like we embrace athletes.
I think it's going to take some time. I think it's going to take some time for us to, and for people like me and you to be able to get the word out there, to disrupt that narrative or disrupt that, that stereotype. And that's what it is. It's a stereotype. I fought it when I was a kid. I was. Yeah.
Can you give me some examples? Like, did you ever have to talk to folks
like? I was a nerd before I was an athlete. I
like that.
Now, and that's what it was. I was always in the computers. I was always into, doing whatever, comic books. Now comic books and, Marvel and everything.
That's it. You're in now.
It's a cool thing right now. But, growing up back in the 80s.
Who was your comic that you liked, by the way? You got a favorite?
Oh, man, I was a Spider-Man guy.
Okay.
I really like Spider-Man. I remember having several.
We got a black Spider-Man now, too. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, Spider-Verse. Yeah. Hell yeah. Like I said, I'm a nerd. I watch anime still. I watch cartoons with my kids and everything. So that's just what it is. But it's really going to take, just us getting out there and saying it's okay. Telling kids it's okay to be. It's okay to enjoy reading. It's okay to not think like everybody else, not just fall into the line and say, hey, I'm gonna pick up a ball, no matter if it's a basketball, if it's a football, whatever type of ball and hey, yes, it's an opportunity. It does create opportunities. That's the one thing is athletics does create opportunities especially for inner city or kids that aren't from a well upbringing or anything like that. That might be, that those the opportunities in the classroom, opportunities,
But we got to tell them it's a pathway to an it is not the end of it's not the destination.
It's a chapter in your book. It's not
correct.
I always tell guys all the time is, especially guys that are playing and they make it to the NFL or they're in college at major school and they might not make. You got to be able to turn that chapter in the book and close that chapter and write. Hopefully you have plenty of
how do you take first of all, there's a lot of layers I want to get to here before you go into advising people about the chapters and seeing the whole book. Let's talk about your early chapter. When did you have any specific moments where you had to kind of overcome this, or things that kind of right now come to your head when you think about the tension between your academics and actually being in sports? I have one, but I didn't make it as far as you. I remember when I was playing football, and there was some advice. There was this coach telling a lot of the athletes, like, don't take this, don't take geometry. Why would you challenge yourself that much? You need to be focused on football. I'm like, what in the world? Like, this is in high school.
Trust me, I've had those conversations. Being especially at Notre Dame, when I went there was literally only one other person on the team that was an engineering major. And I was told by a couple coaches, I won't call their names out or anything.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Or anything like that.
They wouldn't be against the grain. This is what coaches do.
There was a time where I had a chemistry lab my freshman year, and I was told specifically, son, do you realize why are you going to this school? And I was like, yes, to get an education. And they were like, no, football is paying for you to be here. You are here to play football, and then you will go to school. So do not miss practice again because of a computer lab or chemistry lab like that. Academics, make sure that you schedule around football. And that's just something. At the end of the day, let's look at it. Logistics, football did give me the opportunity to be at Notre Dame and be there, so I understood what they were saying. They did not say they gave me all the help I needed in order to be able to get a degree and do well in the classroom. However, I had to
But can you
realize.
imagine somebody that doesn't have the same? I imagine your parents had something to do with
No,
reinforcing
my mom
things.
was, yes.
Yeah,
My
yeah. So
mom,
like,
my family was very strong in academics, pushing academics, pushing academics, and it came to fruition. I mean, my sophomore year, I was told I was never going to be able to play football again.
oh wow, what happened
Yeah,
there?
I was born with a slight case of spinal bifida in my lower back, so
Wow.
I had to get some surgery, some instrumentation, some bone grafting and everything to put in the lower back just to make sure it was stabilized and things like that. And I was told I would never play again. Literally
Wow.
about a
You were
10%
told
chance.
you would never play football again, and you've played 9 years in the
Yeah,
NFL. Am I right about
yeah,
that?
yes,
I mean,
yeah.
it's important for people
I was
not
very
to
fortunate.
accept. Yeah,
Very
preach it.
fortunate.
Listen, go ahead.
I tell people all the time is, I'm a numbers guy, I'm a data guy just like you, but I guess when I was younger, I was too dumb and naive to believe the numbers because when somebody told me I couldn't do something, that kind of pushed me to in order to, gave me the inspiration to do something and
Yeah,
to prove them
you and I
wrong.
have a very similar story. Mine is not based on being an athlete. Unfortunately, I wasn't as good as you in athletics, but I have learning disability, ADHD. So I struggled in school early on, but I decided at the end of the eighth grade, I said I want to go to college. I told my teachers that, and a couple of teachers sat me aside and talked to my parents and said, "Your kid is out of his mind. Like he's not
Yeah.
something he's going to be able to do. Like he's struggled in school. How do you think he's going to make it in school?" And so you're right. There is something to not paying attention to what people say is possible for you. I think there's a lot of power in that. There's also a lot of power in also making sure you're pragmatic too. So I want to make sure I want to talk about that too in terms of when you advise people in their careers about the chapters. Let's go back to what you said, particularly in those who are in sports. Believe that they're going to be doing this forever.
Yeah.
Believe that, I don't know why, but people do believe that just because
They do believe it.
well,
I
no, for the
mean,
same reason you just said. People just believe that they're going to be the ones that are different, which
yes.
is that belief probably carried them to this point where they're in the NFL and they've reached the pinnacle of their sport and they're thinking, okay, I'm going to be like this for a long period and my money's never going to run out like this. The women are going to keep coming, whatever you want to say. And we all know that is the exception rather than the rule. How do
Yes.
you talk to them about making this a chapter in your life and understanding that this is not the whole book in sports?
You have to be. It's a fragile subject. Like you
I'm
said,
sure it is. I
they
mean,
all
imagine how
believe.
you were. Remember how you were at 21,
Oh yeah, I mean,
18?
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
a
you like,
22-year-old kid was making a little bit of money in
yeah,
Miami. Come on,
can't tell me nothing like Kanye said.
you can't tell me, yeah, man, get out of my face. But no, you just have to make them realize. And I think that the more they hear it from people that they care about, people that that they understand care about them, you just show them that you care about them and you're not putting them down. I tell my kids all the time, don't let anybody put barriers on you on how high you can go. It's just one of those things that, and even myself, because as a parent, I'm gonna try to protect my kids, and sometimes I might tell them not try something or not do something, just for belief is because I don't want them to experience failure, or
Right.
I do want them to experience failure, but I want them to be sort of guarded to where make it a little bit lighter for them. But you just have to be real careful with those guys. Sometimes I go over with the rookies for the Dolphins when they come in, and hey, Dolphins last year they brought in 20-something rookies. Now everybody's not going to make the team. I tell them look to your left, look to your right. Out of the three of you guys, only one of you are going to be here past 1 year.
Yeah.
That's just the stats. Now, hey, do what you can, do everything you can in your power to make sure you're that one person. However, I don't always tell them to have a plan B because I want them fully focused on their
Yeah.
goal or what they want to do, what they want to accomplish. But be well-rounded. Don't
Yeah.
make football who you are as a person.
Because
Now,
even right.
coaches are going to want to hear this. General managers aren't going to want to hear this. But football can't be who you are as a person. You play football, but it's not who you are as a person. You might play basketball, you might play hockey, play baseball. You might be a professional baseball. Tom Brady has been playing for 20 years.
Yeah.
Been playing professional football at the highest level. Some people say he's the GOAT. Unfortunately, I can't say that until maybe he retires, and then I'll have that conversation. But Joe Montana's my guy. He's a Notre Dame guy.
Right.
I played with one of the greatest with Dan Marino. So
And
I
I think
mean,
it's hard to compare eras, by the way. And I don't want to
impossible.
go too far down this. I know the Jordan Last Dance just
Yes,
came out, but I'm just
exactly.
like, it's
And
really
that's why
hard
I'm
to
saying,
compare
well,
eras.
at the end of the day, look what Jordan's done off the field. Look, Tom Brady
Yeah,
does off the field. I mean, Tom Brady's going to have a life way longer than the 20 years he had playing football.
absolutely. And I
So
think that's a great
that's what you
point.
have to look at. You
Yeah,
can't be
yeah,
short-sighted. You have to have some type, like you said, the long game. Yeah, you hope you play as long as you can. However, just know that when this chapter does close, make sure you're able to close, and it's not going to devastate you and destroy you.
yeah.
Uh,
Amen. I
that's the
mean,
problem. There's a lot of guys that have issues after they're done because they fall into a deep depression because
their
football is
identity was football.
that did was football. I mean, I've actually had this, and I go around sometimes, during off season for visiting troops overseas and the military. Military has the same issue.
Makes sense.
When guys get out of the military, especially guys that have been in for a long time, those you get those 20-year plus guys that
Yep.
make a career. They have an issue of identifying who they are outside of the military. So, I mean, it's just
Even
a
really rich.
it's a
This
human
is
thing to
getting
do.
kind of Pollyannish, but I remember reading about Michael Jordan, and I think I saw one quote. He said he would give all his money back just to be able to play again and to be able
Yeah,
to have right to be in front of stuff. And I'm like, I understand that to an extent, but a part of it is like, well, dude, like you, how are you not happy where you're at right now? And the fact you've made all this and had all this, and it's back to what you said. Your identity can't be wrapped in to simply what you do for a career, no matter what. It can't be wrapped up in that completely. It has to be something else. And I think another point about what you made is you never want to tell people to have a plan B, but you better have a plan. Like the plan
yes,
is like, here's the plan. You're not going to be playing football for 25 years. It's not possible.
exactly.
And you're
It's
going
not
to need to still make money for the next 50 years of your life. It's very likely you're going to live for a long time. And it's
mm-hmm.
100% guaranteed you're not going to spend your entire career playing NFL football. It's not happening.
It's
So
not
like,
happening.
right. So getting people to understand that having a plan and having a strategy, because pride and hope are not a strategy. They are
Yeah.
not, right? You can have hope in your abilities, hope that you'll be very successful, but don't spend like you're going to keep making the same amount of money that you have this year every single year in the future. Like that's how, I mean, getting people to understand that it's not about having a plan B. It's about having a plan,
Yes, a life plan.
a
Yeah,
life plan. Right. And, we don't think about that as much when we're 21, 22. I didn't, but I also didn't have a multi-million-dollar contract. I'm sure my parents would have been a lot more firm on me about that, because people will find ways to take your money quickly when you have it, as you know.
yes,
How do
they
you
will.
tell people to avoid, how do you go about, I guess, getting people into habits or into good habits or breaking bad habits so they don't find themselves in this trap, especially when you're dealing with people that might have first generation real wealth?
Well, that's exactly. When you deal with athletes, you definitely have to break that bad habits first. A lot of them come into the league or their prospective sport or their prospective career with some very bad habits of, not knowing how to budget, not know how to deal with certain things. And like you say, I don't tell a guy, usually, as an athlete, they always, everybody has that chain moment, that car moment, that buy the mom a house moment,
Of
whatever it is,
course.
where you're going to spend a significant amount of money, which you'll probably regret literally
Right.
maybe 3 or 4, maybe minutes after you buy it. But, not trying to just, put them on a budget where they're saying, hey, you can only do this, this, and this, and that's it. But let's have a conversation of, if you do decide to do this, if you do decide to, instead of buying this very affordable, nice, Mercedes Benz or whatever it is kind of car, Tesla now, whatever kind of car it is, but instead you want to buy a Maybach or a Rolls Royce or things like. Let's look at those dollar figures and let's look at how that's going to change your future.
Right.
Let's look at how that's going to impact where you want to, for your life plan, for your goals of generational wealth, whatever your goals are. Usually it's generational wealth. They want to be able to leave generations of wealth because, like you said, they're the first generation. So
Right.
they want to be known to be able to say they, you know, they help their family and, you know, kids, grandkids, and simply out and just make sure that they had opportunities. And,
Right.
you know, in this country, unfortunately, wealth does create more opportunities.
Wealth
It
creates more opportunities
is what it is.
everywhere.
That's
One of my mentors said, like, yes, you don't do everything for money, but you can't do the Lord's work without it. So you can talk
yes,
all you want to, but you can't have the type of impact you want unless you have some means. It's true.
you have
Like,
to have.
yeah, every single, even mass movements that helped lots of people, the people that led them usually had something going for them. I mean, every single one.
Yeah,
You look at Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King was not poor, and he came from a family of means. Mahatma Gandhi was not poor, and he ended up, you know, he had a lot of success. So, like, yes, there's nothing wrong with being poor. It's not an indictment on your
no,
character. I want to make that clear. What I am saying is, if people talk about money not being anything or not mattering, those people are crazy because it does. I mean, like, so.
you know, I mean, money can't be everything that you're about. Like you said,
No,
you know, it can't be what you're about. It can't be, you know, hey, that's what it is all about, and that's just what it is. However, it does, like you said, like we both know, it creates opportunities. You create
absolutely.
opportunities, put you in positions, you know, get a better education. You know, I was fortunate to have a football scholarship that afforded me to be able to get a top rate. You know, I say top rate because, you know, I still love Notre Dame,
Yeah.
but, you know, a top rate education in a way to, you know, better my life, no matter if I play football or not
Right.
afterward. I'm setting myself up for that, you
Right.
know, life after football.
Well, let's actually talk a little bit about life during football. And you were very involved in the concussion lawsuit, and I think you were a class representative.
Yes.
And you actually had a moment where you personally went through something like this while you were in the NFL. Talk about that moment, because I read that, and I think it's important for the listeners and viewers to hear about your actual experience in having an injury during football, and then how that has informed you to be a class representative for the concussion lawsuit.
Well, you know, it was kind of interesting because I never really wanted to be out there. We never wanted to be the person that was going to be the voice of thousands of guys, you know, thousands of my brothers that played the game with me, that played the game before me and after me. But, you know, it's injury was part of the game. We understand that it's a very physical game and things like that, but we just wanted to make sure that I literally just wanted to make sure that guys were going to be able to take care of, maybe like an insurance policy type of thing, where guys that played the game that maybe suffered some issues, like you said, I've had a couple concussions while I played. I've been knocked out.
Do you remember that? Like, I actually have I looked this up. You said it was like your Jerry Maguire moment when you were
Yes,
you said like, and when
yeah,
it happened, like, what was your feelings at that moment?
that was my
Oh, by the
rookie.
way, Jerry Maguire, for all my people who may
Yes,
be a little bit younger, you need to Google that. You need to Google
yes.
that. You need to
And
Google
watch
that
it.
with,
Hey, we
yeah,
all have
show
some
me the
fun right
money. Yeah, you
now.
got to see
Pull
that
it up, pull it up, and you'll be able to
for all you
stream.
young bucks.
Yeah. So, but no, I had my Jerry Maguire moment, and actually, it was my first preseason game. We were playing. I remember
Wow.
specifically. I was named a
Your first
starter.
preseason game ever in the NFL.
First preseason game ever in the NFL.
Wow.
Named a starter that week.
Oh, so you feeling
I'm
high at this
feeling high
moment.
and mighty. I made it. I think I made it. You know, this is the first. I didn't understand what preseason was about. Personally, I thought, hey, if I made it as a starter right then, I made the team. I'm one. You know, I'm a play for my 10+ years.
Right, right.
Already had it scheduled out. But no, I mean, I had that moment where it was a play, 13th play of the game. We were about to go out. The starters were about to go out of the game. I probably was going to stay in a little bit longer because I was a rookie.
Yeah.
But you know, it was one of those times where, you know, I hit the receiver, hit the other corner, defensive back, and just blacked out, totally out.
Wow.
Didn't wake up until somebody was above me, clapping hands and saying, "Can I feel my body?" They scared me so much because they know they already started taping me to a board and everything that I was paralyzed, basically. Couldn't move. They kept asking me, and literally they put me on the side of a helicopter and helicoptered me down to, you know, Jackson Hospital. After, some evaluations and everything, I was marked fine, marked okay, was back out at practice the next day.
The next
Wait, the next
day.
day.
Wow.
With
Uh,
one of those collars on,
wow.
one of those cowboy collars.
That's nuts. But that was the time, right? And people, and I noticed you said this, not understanding the difference because we didn't appreciate it as much
Yeah.
between pain and injuries. And
Yes.
so, and yeah, you talked about that.
And unfortunately, that's why I've really joined the concussion cases, because I wanted to change that narrative, that the talk around concussions. When we were there, it was a ding. You got your bell rung.
Yeah,
Whatever.
get up, boy, be tough.
Yeah, you can keep
it's all
going.
right. Everybody, shake it off.
It was just pain. It wasn't
Yeah.
considered an injury, and I think we've changed that discussion around it, where now coaches, players, the health staff or whatever, the trainers and things, the doctors, they're all considering concussions. Concussions are now classified as an injury.
Yeah, because listen, and we all, particularly from our guys, makes me feel like I'm old, but during our time, I don't know if I want to say that, damn, because I really do feel old when I say it.
Yes.
But anyway, when I was in high school, damn, that still sounds old. All right, I can't come up with a better term. Anyway, we pushed, like I actually had a really bad knee injury, as I told, I had an injury earlier. It was a really serious injury, and the reason for it is because I was in pain, but it was probably an injury. And I was like, you got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing because that's like in the – so how do you now talk to players, and how would you talk to your family members about the tension between pushing yourself and making sure you don't injure yourself and knowing when a line is not crossed? Well, I think that's tough for people.
That's very difficult. That's very tough. It's very tough. And it requires a lot of knowledge, a lot of, going into understanding your body, understanding – what you're going through, whether it's a knee injury, whether it's a shoulder injury, whether it's a concussion. Educate yourself on it. I tell parents all the time, try to educate yourselves on it. Now, I'm not saying become a doctor and believe everything you read on the internet, especially WebMD and things like that. Don't think that you're a PhD. Always consult.
We got a lot of people that think they're doctors right now with this COVID-19. Okay, but go ahead. We got a lot of professional doctors who really major in BS, not MD, but go ahead.
Not going to say anything, but no, I'm not.
That's just my opinion. Hey, this is Rob Richardson speaking. Go ahead.
But no, it's to educate themselves and make sure that they give the support to the kids. It's like you said, man. We've all had coaches. I've had to coach, man. I was down on the ground. I had to coach move the drill down 5-10 yards. Told the trainer, go take care of them, and just kept practicing. Unfortunately,
treat you like you're just like, to be used and off the field, which is why back to your earlier point about academics and why it's important it's not about having a plan B, but having a plan, because a lot of these people see you as something they can use for money for the school as a temporary asset, and then you're gone. So understand the opportunity you have and understand that no matter what, even if you go on to become a great NFL player, it's not going to last forever. So you got to use this. You don't use this, they will take what you have.
Yeah.
Just because you don't even know how to keep it.
They can take everything else away from them. They can't take your mind away from them. Yep. They can't take your ability to be able to, think your way through something or come up with a game plan or come up with something. They cannot take that away from you. I can always say that you're not good enough. You're not fast enough. You're not strong enough. Make sure that they never say is you're not smart enough.
Amen.
That's what you can control. You can control that, and we can only worry about what we can control, and that's one of the things that you can control. And some of us are more gifted in the classroom than others, but you could put if you could put that hard work on the field, in the gym, you should put that same amount of hard work in the classroom.
Amen to that.
Not more.
Yep.
Not more.
I saw this quote that I heard others talk about with the concussion lawsuit when people are NFL fans are saying, well, what's the big deal? It's just millionaires versus billionaires. My line to that is whatever. But the fact is, there's only one side getting their necks broken and and getting their brains affected. Only one of those people are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, we did come up with a settlement that I think is, hey, it's a settlement. So is it perfect? No. But I think it's.
But I just said people have to appreciate, like, they think you're not like things to be thrown away. And at
Well,
the end
yeah,
of the
that's
day, like if you don't
unfortunately
have your
that's what.
brain,
Yeah,
is it? I
unfortunately,
mean, is it worth that person who made $1 million, 2, 3, to not have a brain?
yeah. When you play a sport, or you're an entertainer or athlete, or you're in the public eye, you really have to you have to be kind of thick skinned, because you're going to get a
Yeah.
lot of you get those people that always think that they can criticize no matter what.
Is
Sorry
that your
about
people?
that. Hey, it's
That's your kids.
homeschooling for you.
Yeah. Speaking of your kids, I had actually a question about kids.
Classroom is done.
Yeah, thinking about like what is it that knowing the injuries to football, would you want your kids playing football still?
Actually, I have a son that plays football right now at
Oh, you do.
Columbia.
You don't worry. So that's actually interesting because my fiance has a kid that can easily. I mean, he would. I mean, he would go to the NFL if he played. Like
Oh wow.
he's like 9 and approaching my strength. Just a big, strong, sturdy kid. His grandfather played for USC. Was actually one of those
Okay.
legends out there.
All right.
Anyway, so but she's like, nope, can't do it, scared to death. So the fact that you have a kid there, so I'm sure it concerns you. How do you navigate through this?
Oh yeah, like you say, like I was talking about before, is being aware. Making sure that he understands that there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. There's a big difference. You have to push through pain. Unfortunately, that's what sports
Yep.
is. But you have to know when you're injured.
Yep.
And don't let anybody else tell you that you can push through it. You have to respect your body, and unfortunately, you only get one of them. We only get one body. You were born in it, we died.
So there's no tension with the mother at all about this. She was all on board.
Huh? What was that?
What about your wife or your mother? The mother,
Oh,
she
yeah.
was. There was no tension there.
It's funny that you say my mom, because growing up, I can just remember, when I started playing football. It was later in, around, 8th, 9th grade. And whenever my mom would come to a game, I would worry about, getting injured or anything, because I was always worried my mom was going to be that one that runs on the field.
Right.
So no matter if I was injured or not, I was getting up.
Yeah.
Talking about pushing through injuries. I was pushing through injuries because I didn't want to be embarrassed by my mom jumping on the field, talking about my baby and all that. I was the only I definitely didn't want that. But no, I mean, it's one of those things that we've had conversations, around, our kids playing any type of sports. I have 2 daughters that play, they do gymnastics and cheerleading. There's a lot of injuries in that as well. But my kids know that, we support them no matter what. And we just try to be there for them. Supporting their sports and their endeavors outside of the classroom, but making sure that they do what they have to do in the classroom.
Oh, absolutely.
Like we already said, that's number one. But it's an ongoing conversation about something like.
I'm sure it is.
Conversation, because I have another one that's in 9th grade right now that is starting to pick up sports and pick up the football, and it's hard.
I'm sure it is.
It's hard, and I don't blame anybody that tells their kids that we're going to go a different route. We're not going to. We'll make sure those opportunities open up some other way for you.
Sure.
Not everybody's path is through the gridiron or on the basketball court or hitting a ball. Sometimes you might do something else. Nobody knows what's written in their book except one person knows, and that's God, and he knows he has a plan for you.
Yep. Agreed. A couple of rapid fire questions. What's an important truth, something that you have as a core conviction that most people think is just crazy or disagrees with you strongly?
Well, I don't know. I don't think anybody disagrees with me. I can be pretty compelling after I talk to them for a little while. But no,
I want to know a deep personal belief, not your. I can tell you great at persuading people. But what is something that you believe that others might think, others might disagree with?
I believe in aliens.
Okay.
That's a nerd in me, though. That's the Star Trek, Star Wars, all that stuff and everything. I truly believe in aliens, but I don't believe that they abduct people or anything like that. Or I've never been abducted, but I do believe in aliens. I do believe sometime in the future, maybe.
All right. Well, nobody's answered the question that way. All right, so that's one.
How about, I told you I'm a little different.
Yeah, no, it's good. Different is good. You have a committee of 3, living or dead, that can advise you on business, and or life, who are those three people and why?
Well, you said one earlier, Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay.
Just want to know because of his convictions and the struggle. Even though he, like you say, he came from means, he still attacked a system
He did.
that and he went hand in hand with other people. I mean, there's just he was the head of a movement, but he wasn't the movement himself.
Correct.
And he understood that, and just to be able to talk to him about that, and because we all, I'm the type of person. I mean, I think most of us are. We like to be liked by the majority of people. Yeah, we're going to piss some people off because like you said, we might disrupt. We might say what's on our beliefs that they might not believe in.
And he was extremely unpopular. I tell people he was definitely a innovator and a disruptor. So you can always tell innovators and disruptors because they are liked after the fact. Like he wasn't liked during the fact. He was one of the most hated people in America. He's well liked now because what he stood for was right, but at the time, this also goes for actually a lot of black people too. They weren't in line with that. I mean, so it's the fact is, if you want to be an innovator, it's hard to go against the grain. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you got people. I mean, he had people he was fighting for that didn't.
Correct.
Why are you putting this out there? Why are you doing that? Why are you bringing this? Why are you making it worse for us? So
or making it say you're making it all about you, or why are you doing that? I mean, lots of people thought that, and people, like I said, people have a revised, whitewashed view of heroes and innovators after the fact, but during the fact, like it's like I said, they weren't liked. All right, who else? Who's your number two?
I have a strong, faith base and all that stuff. So I would say Jesus Christ.
Okay. Well, what would you ask Jesus if you get Jesus is here? He's talking to you. What are you going to
ask? One is first I want to say thank you for taking away all my sins. Dying on the cross for me. But just to be around, just how he handled life, how he dealt with, being a human being, and then knowing that he was going to ascend that. It's one of those things that, I just want to know,
Yeah.
I just want to know. I mean, we read the Bible, we read, things about it and everything. But to be able to hear it from him would be, hey, it'd be real nice. Hey, like you said, it's just spend 5 minutes with him, whatever it is.
Yep. And
then, the third person probably would have to be,
it could be somebody now, right now.
It could be somebody now. That's what I'm thinking of. There's plenty of people in the business world that, the finance world that, inspired and all that stuff and everything. But to me, I would love to spend some time with, wow, that's hard, man. 3 people.
It doesn't have to be somebody it could be somebody you spend time with too. I mean, it just
what? I mean, I would love to spend some time with Michael Jordan.
Oh, okay. What would you ask MJ? So that's gonna be one of my questions I got to earlier. This is good. So what would you ask MJ? What would you want to talk to MJ about?
I'm gonna talk to MJ about how he approached the game.
Okay.
How he approached getting people around him better, knowing that he was one of the best ones to do it at the time that he was doing it, and probably ever to do it. But
that's my question. I said, is he the GOAT? That was my next to you. He must be. He's on your advisory committee. You got to make him the GOAT.
He's my GOAT. GOAT.
Yeah.
He's my GOAT. But like you say, I think he transcended generations. Where actually my kids wait till they have no idea who he is really. They just know he has a product line and wears shoes.
Yeah, they know the Jordans.
They don't fully appreciate him because they can't, they weren't around at the time that he was playing. But just how he dealt with, that 12th guy on the bench on the team. What was his relationship with that guy? What was the relationship with, the coaches and the trainers? And how about, did he have a relationship with the guy that brought the towels in the locker room? I treated, because usually you see, I've been around some great players and all that, and those great people are, great people off the court, off the field as well. But Jordan's one of the ones that intrigues me because he's during the time that I grew up. I remember getting my first pair of Jordans and chased off a SEPTA bus in Philly because some kids wanted to steal it.
Oh yeah. Jordans were the thing. I mean, they still are in some places, but yeah, definitely.
So by me asking my grandmother so many times that buy me a pair because I knew my mom was going to buy me a pair. So my grandmother bought me that pair of Jordans, and it was just mystifying. I've got to meet him a couple times without anything that he remembers. I got to meet him a couple times just being
Yeah.
in the field that I'm in, or that I was in, around professional athlete, all that stuff. But it's I never really got to spend any time, just asking
Okay.
him,
Yeah.
diving into, what he's made of.
Yeah, that makes sense. Any books or resources that really are your go-to that you would recommend?
My go-to is, I do read the Bible.
Okay.
That's my go-to for, faith and make sure the foundation and things like that for
What
me.
about any other books that you recommend, authors?
Um,
You
but
have any that
there's
you?
tons of books. I'm more of a self-help type of guy.
Okay.
I
Who do
read
you like? Who do you like in the
books.
self-help area then?
Everybody. I'm not lying. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever not read a book, or I'm not really that big of a book reader. First of all,
Yeah.
I'm more of an audiobook,
So
but
you do? I'm counting out. You do Audible?
I do Audible. I do
Okay. What do you
Audible.
like on Audible?
My
What's your
kids
What's your
do
book on
Audibles all
Audible?
the time and everything. I mean, you put me on this. Let me think about that. The last one I read is, the Seven Habits. Of course, the habits of
Yeah, that's a good one.
successful people. That's a great one actually. But the last one I read, let me think. Tunde gave me a book. Don't tell him I didn't read all of it, but
I won't.
he gave me a book the other almost like a year ago. Forget the name of
Well,
it.
if you don't remember, you to come back to. I got. We'll come back to that later at some other podcast with you.
Yeah.
So, final question: you have a billboard or a Google display ad that says your theme in life, or something that really describes your essence. What does that say and why?
Worry about what you can control, and don't try to control things that you can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hey, that will help you a lot in life. You can't
That
control this
that helps,
coronavirus, but you can
that
control how
helps
you
you
react.
everywhere. I can't control the coronavirus. I can control my reaction to it. I can control how I can keep my family safe and things like that. I can control, my thoughts on. But at the end of the day, I can't control the vaccine. I'm not in the laboratory, coming up with a vaccine or antibody or anything like that. So yeah,
Yep.
I can only worry about that.
Shawn Wooden, appreciate you coming on the show, man.
All right, appreciate you having me, Rob.